The void was silent, as it always was, yet every vessel in the great armada of the Zorith Dominion thrummed with a tension that seemed to ripple across the stars themselves. Admiral Vale stood at the command dais of his flagship, the Crown of Dominion, his eyes narrowing as the blue sphere of Earth came into focus on the grand holodisplay. A simple, unassuming planet at the edge of a spiral arm, a world so primitive, so backward, that most of the galaxy had ignored it for millennia. And yet, here it was, the final target in a campaign that had crushed entire civilizations. "Report," Vale commanded, his voice smooth and cold. "Scanners confirm the human homeworld ahead. Their defenses are minimal, orbital platforms, outdated warships, a scattering of ground batteries." His chief sensor officer spoke with something like contempt. "They can't possibly stand against us, Admiral." Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. Zorith officers were confident, their dominion had rolled over empires with fleets 10 times Earth's size. Resistance here seemed laughable. But then, an elder voice cut through the air, rasped, low, weighted with unease. "Admiral," said Commander RHY Zal, a scarred veteran who had fought through 100 campaigns. He had survived where others had not, and whispers followed him, whispers of things he had seen, things that had left his compound eyes ever unsettled. "I must caution you. Humanity is different." Vale turned his gaze, amused. "Different? They are primitives." "No," RHY Zal leaned forward, his mandibles clicking. "I was present at the suppression of the Orion Syndicate. Do you recall their words before they fell? They screamed not of the Dominion, but of humans. They begged us not to bring war here." The room grew quieter. The Orion Syndicate had been a formidable power, one that should have resisted far longer. "I tell you this, Admiral," RHY Zal continued, his tone sharp with conviction. "The humans do not fight as others do. They do not calculate war as a game of resources and attrition. They fight with something else, something primal. And when they fight, they do not permit escape." A faint ripple of discomfort ran across the bridge crew. Vale chuckled, dismissive. "Old soldier tales. Superstition. The humans have no fleet worth naming. They possess no great technology. They are not the Ascendancy, nor the Veyrak Hive. They are ants beneath our boots." "Ants bite," RHY Zal said darkly. "And when they bite, they do not let go." The Dominion fleet advanced. Thousands of warships blotted out the stars, their engines igniting the void with rivers of blue fire. Earth's defenses came alive, orbital cannons charged, frigates scrambled to intercept, but compared to the Armada, it was nothing. On Earth, however, humanity watched with grim silence. General Elias Carter stood at the UN Defense Command Center, deep beneath hardened layers of steel and earth. Around him, the War Council of Humanity sat, leaders from every nation, their faces lined with tension but not fear. "They're coming in faster than projected," said Admiral Suzuki, tapping coordinates onto the central display. "Dominion ships, formation indicates full planetary assault." Carter's jaw tightened. "So it begins." The council members exchanged glances. No one spoke of surrender. No one spoke of retreat. Humanity's history was filled with blood and fire. Earth had known conquerors before, had seen invaders from its own species tear continents apart. Every scar of war had forged them into something alien powers could not comprehend. "They think we'll fold." Carter's voice was low, almost a growl. "They think we'll beg." His gaze hardened, steel blue eyes flicking across the table. "But they don't understand us. We don't yield. We don't forget. And we don't let the enemy run." The first clash came at the edge of the atmosphere. Dominion destroyers descended, unleashing plasma storms that lit the sky with violet fire. Earth's ships, a ragtag defense force of modern carriers, missile platforms, and stealth frigates, rose to meet them. On paper, the humans were outmatched. Yet the Dominion fleet encountered something it hadn't expected, resistance that was surgical, ruthless, and unerringly precise. Human frigates darted in close, weaving through plasma bursts with impossible maneuvers. Earth's pilots didn't fear death, they danced with it. Kamikaze runs shredded destroyers. Missile strikes detonated with eerie timing, ripping through weak points in Dominion shields. Admiral Vale frowned as casualty reports filtered in. Why are they pressing so hard? Why do they throw themselves into hopeless attacks? HFY Zal answered without turning. Because they intend to take us with them. The humans weren't retreating. They weren't holding ground. They were hunting. In the shadows of orbit, hidden ships decloaked, craft built in secret, their existence never revealed to the galaxy. Humanity had been preparing, not idly waiting. The Aegis, Earth's first true supercarrier, unleashed swarms of autonomous drones that tore through enemy lines like a plague. Railguns, weapons the Dominion had dismissed as primitive, punched through their shields with raw kinetic devastation. The battle turned ugly. The Dominion fleet, used to orderly suppression, found itself ensnared in chaos. And still, humanity pressed. On every frequency, Earth's warning echoed, carried by Admiral Suzuki's defiant broadcast. You came here expecting surrender. You will find none. You wanted war. You'll find that once humans taste blood, we never let go. You will not flee. You will not escape. Every ship you send, every soldier you land, will remain here forever. The Dominion officers felt the chill of those words. Even Vale, proud and arrogant, could not ignore the growing unease that seeped through his crew. HFY Zal's whisper cut through the silence like a blade. I told you, Admiral. They will never let us flee. The battle for Earth had begun. And though the Dominion still held overwhelming numbers, a strange, unfamiliar dread settled over them. For the first time in centuries, the conquerors felt the stirrings of something they had not known in generations. Fear. The void above Earth was no longer silent. It howled with fire and death. Dominion ships bled across the stars, their burning hulls streaking like dying meteors into the planet's atmosphere. For every human craft torn apart, 2 Dominion vessels seemed to fall with it. The balance was shifting, not through numbers, but through something the invaders had not calculated. Human ferocity. Admiral Vale gripped the command rail of the Crown of Dominion. The bridge pulsed with warning sirens as the holodisplay flooded with red indicators. His fleets were not collapsing, not yet, but they were bleeding more heavily than any projection had allowed. Report, Vale demanded, though his voice betrayed the first hints of strain. 47 ships lost in the last cycle, replied the tactical officer. Several more crippled. Human resistance is concentrated, unpredictable, every time we adjust, they shift tactics again. Unacceptable. Vale's mandibles clicked in irritation. We are the Dominion. We do not falter before primitives. But Commander HFY Zal's gaze never left the projection. His claws tapped slowly, rhythmically. He saw it now, clearer with every moment, the shape of the human strategy. They're pulling us in, he murmured. Vale turned. What are you saying? They're not defending randomly. They're steering us. Hurting the fleet. HFY Zal's eyes glinted. We think we are pressing forward, but every move brings us deeper into their kill zone. The Admiral scoffed. Impossible. They do not have the coordination for such complexity. Don't they? HFY Zal asked softly. Have you not seen how they sacrifice without hesitation? How they feign weakness, only to spring forward the moment we advance. This is not chaos, Admiral. This is a snare. And we are inside it. Vale's retort died as another shudder rocked the flagship. Across the void, the human supercarrier Aegis disgorged a new wave of drones, black swarms of metal gnats that pierced Dominion hulls, swarming into vents, detonating reactor cores from within. The Great Armada, so sure of its supremacy, suddenly seemed clumsy, huge beasts thrashing in a net of knives. On Earth's surface, in the fortified depths of Defense Command, General Carter watched the unfolding storm. "They're tightening," Admiral Suzuki confirmed, her voice steady though her eyes betrayed exhaustion. "The Dominion is committing more ships, but they're moving exactly where we want them. Phase 2 is ready." Carter nodded once. Around him, the Council did not breathe. Every step of this plan had been forged in desperation, tempered by the memory of every war humanity had ever fought. They were outnumbered, outgunned, but they carried with them something no alien empire had ever truly understood. Resolve. Carter leaned over the comm array, transmitting across secured channels to every human combatant above. His voice was cold iron. "They came to conquer. They will not leave. All units, execute the burn." The order ignited the stars. Human ships disengaged from defensive formations and struck with a ferocity that stunned even their own allies. Stealth frigates emerged from hiding, missile silos buried in Earth's crust launched with synchronized precision, and the Aegis surged forward like a beast unleashed. The Dominion fleet reeled. Plasma bolts seared the void, but humans did not dodge like frightened prey. They dove into the fire, shields cracking, hulls melting, but still they closed the distance. And when they reached their targets, they tore them apart with brutal, intimate violence. Boarding torpedoes pierced cruisers, soldiers in hardened exosuits stormed alien corridors, fighting hand to claw in suffocating darkness. The Dominion was used to wars fought at a distance, campaigns decided by grand maneuvers. Humanity fought in the shadows of hull plating, in the screams of close combat, in the blood that sprayed across decks. And always, always, they hunted. Admiral Vale's command staff grew pale, mandibles clacking nervously. The Dominion had crushed empires larger than this. Why then, did it feel as though the ground itself shifted beneath them? "Admiral," a voice cried. "The humans have breached the 7th flank. Multiple capital ships down, they're inside our perimeter." Vale's claws dug into the rail. "Hold them. Repel their boarding parties." "It's not just boarding, Admiral," RHY Zal said grimly. "It's slaughter. They are not securing territory, they are not taking prisoners. They mean to kill us all." For the first time, silence gripped the command bridge. "Run a projection," Vale ordered finally, his voice a whisper. The tactical map shifted. Paths of retreat flared across the stars, except, one by one, they collapsed, choked by human deployments. Stealth vessels blocked hyperspace lanes, drone clouds encircled escape vectors, missile satellites locked the rest. There was no way out. RHY Zal turned, his voice dark with vindication. "I told you. They warned us. Once engaged, the humans will never let us flee." On board the Aegis, Admiral Suzuki walked the bridge with the calm of a predator circling its kill. Around her, the crew's eyes were hard, unblinking. They knew what was coming. "Status of the Dominion flagship?" she asked. "Shield strained but intact. Still coordinating fleet movements." "Good." Suzuki's lips tightened into a razor smile. "Break their spine, and the body dies. Bring me firing solutions." Humanity did not merely seek survival. They sought to ensure the Dominion never returned. Every move was calculated to leave no survivors, no path to regroup, no seed of vengeance left alive. The Dominion, proud and ancient, had never known such an enemy. Civilizations before had begged for mercy, sued for peace, fled into the dark. Humanity did none of these. They fought like creatures with nothing to lose, yet everything to defend. And in their defiance, they revealed something terrifying. They were not simply resisting. They were erasing. As the battle reached its crescendo, Admiral Vale finally understood the whispers that had haunted the Orion Syndicate's dying screams. He saw it in the faces of his crew, in the crimson glare of failing systems, in the relentless human assault that gave no quarter. This was not war. This was judgment. And the humans had delivered their verdict: none of the invaders would leave. By the time Earth's moon rose full and pale above the battle-scorched world, the Dominion fleet was broken, scattered, and trapped. Escape vectors were gone, reserves depleted, morale shattered. For the first time in centuries, the Dominion knew despair. But humanity was not finished. No, this was only the beginning. The stars above Earth had become a graveyard. Dominion wreckage drifted like broken bones, hulls gutted and silent, their twisted shadows reflecting faintly against the planet's oceans below. Fires of dying engines streaked across the sky, burning trails that bled into the atmosphere. Admiral Vale stood rigid on the bridge of the Crown of Dominion. The once proud flagship shook with every distant impact. Systems flickered. His officers worked feverishly at their stations, mandibles clicking with panic, but there was no disguising the truth. They were trapped. Across the void, the human supercarrier Aegis loomed, its colossal form framed in the dying glow of the battle. Drones swarmed like vultures around its hull. Railguns glowed faintly red, cooling from their latest barrage. Its presence was not merely tactical, it was symbolic, a dark promise written in steel. "They are closing in," one officer whispered. HFY's voice, though weary, was unshaken. "They will not stop until we are all gone. You know this now." Vale's mandibles ground together. Pride had been his shield for so long, arrogance his armor. But here, standing amid the wreckage of his fleet, even pride had limits. His claws trembled against the railing. "Open a channel," he said finally, voice cracking. "We will negotiate." But the calm officer froze. Slowly, hesitantly, she turned her head. "Admiral, they are not responding." Vale blinked. "What?" "They are receiving our hails, but they do not answer." HFY's gaze was a blade in the silence. "They warned us. Do you remember? They said we would not flee. They said we would not escape." On board the Aegis, Admiral Suzuki regarded the incoming signals with quiet detachment. "Dominion flagship requests parley," her calm officer said. Suzuki's expression did not change. "Ignore it." The officer hesitated. "Admiral, if we open dialogue." Suzuki turned, her voice sharp as a cutting edge. "How many worlds did they ignore when pleas were sent? How many voices did they silence?" The bridge fell silent. No one dared to answer. Her eyes, cold and resolute, turned back to the drifting Dominion fleet. "They came here to extinguish us. Instead, they have written their own epitaph. This ends now." The humans struck with methodical precision. Where other species fought to subdue or scatter, humanity fought to finish. Squadrons hunted the stragglers, tearing apart crippled destroyers. Boarding teams advanced relentlessly, breaching hulls, disabling reactors, purging entire crews in close quarters. The Dominion fought with desperation now, but desperation only fed humanity's fury. In the corridors of the Crown of Dominion, alarms blared as explosions rocked its spine. Human marines flooded in, their armor black and faceless, their weapons flashing in bursts of merciless light. The Zorath soldiers resisted fiercely, claws slashing, plasma rifles blazing, but the humans came in waves, unstoppable, unyielding. One by one, Dominion officers fell. Their cries were drowned in the thunder of collapsing decks. And finally, the humans reached the command bridge. Admiral Vale stood tall, even as the doors burst open. His eyes met the faceless helmets of the boarding squad. Behind them stepped a figure with a crimson-marked pauldron, their leader. The human's weapon was lowered, but their presence carried something heavier than any gun. "You," Vale rasped. You cannot simply erase us. We are the Dominion. We The human's voice cut him down, calm and merciless. You brought war to Earth. You were warned. And now you will see what that means. Vale's mandibles trembled. You could enslave us. Take us as tribute. Spare our lives. The human's visor tilted, as if in grim amusement. We don't want your tribute. We don't want your chains. We want only one thing. Vale's chest tightened. What? The soldiers stepped closer, lowering their weapon until its muzzle pressed against the Admiral's chest. Your end. The shot rang out. Vale collapsed, lifeless, his blood staining the floor of his once mighty flagship. When the crown of Dominion fell silent, the rest of the fleet followed. Without leadership, the surviving Dominion ships became easy prey. Humans dismantled them one by one, leaving no avenue for retreat. Some tried to flee into hyperspace, but their drives were intercepted, torn apart before they could jump. Others surrendered, only to be boarded and extinguished. No prisoners. No mercy. The battle did not end with surrender, it ended with silence. A silence heavy and absolute. On Earth, as the fires of the last wreckage dimmed against the night sky, General Carter stood at the command dais. He looked at the report streaming in, confirmed kills, sectors cleared, the void secured. All hostile presence eliminated, Admiral Suzuki's voice crackled through. Not one ship escaped. The council chamber was hushed. Victory should have brought cheers, relief, tears of triumph. But humanity did not cheer. Instead, they sat in silence, heavy, grim, resolute. Carter finally spoke, his words slow, deliberate, meant not only for the council but for the countless unseen ears across Earth. Let this be known, he said. We are not conquerors. We are not monsters. But if war is brought to our home, we will answer in kind. And when we answer, none shall flee. None shall return to bring the threat again. He paused, his eyes lingering on the darkened skies beyond. They will remember this day. Not for their victory, but for their extinction. In the cycles to come, the galaxy would whisper of what had happened at Earth. Of how the great Dominion fleet had descended with arrogance, only to vanish completely. Of how humans, once dismissed as primitives, had risen with a fury no empire could withstand. And above all, they would remember the warning. Do not attack humanity. Because once they rise to fight, they will never let you flee.